Hello, as you know, it is Turkey Fun time at KDKA, and today we're talking to the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank about efforts to get food to those in rural parts of our area. And Pittsburgh's South Side has seen a lot of change in the last year. Community members are here to tell us about the impact of increased police patrols and plans for a new music festival. Plus, the Kelly Strayhorn Theater is home to a new exhibit with diverse female artists focusing on their culture and identity. They'll tell us how you can see their work. So pull up a chair and meet us at the corner. Intersection starts right now. Hello, I'm Lisa Smith, the Director of Community Impact at KDKA Plus and the host of Intersections. When it comes to food insecurity, who is impacted? How can local groups partner to help? And what's needed to enable agencies to get the food to those who need it? That was part of the premise for a new pilot program by the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. It's called the Collective Impact Initiative. And here to share more about it is Erin Spangler. She is the director for the program with the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. Thanks so much, Erin, for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So, this is a time of year, it's fall, we're getting close to Thanksgiving and Christmas, and this is when people really think about food and giving.
Yeah.
But this is not the only time of year. I mean, you guys have seen an increase in need. What is that increase looking like right now?
Yeah, hunger is an issue at all times of year. It's obviously front of mind for many people during this time of year because the holidays are so much about food, and so a lot of work goes into efforts here. But hunger is something that is, we noticed after the pandemic, we didn't sort of see a drop in need after the real height of COVID-19. What we're seeing is we're seeing more people today than we did even 1 or 2 years ago. And I think it's for a couple reasons, partially, due to inflation. Even though on paper inflation has been coming down, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's hitting people's pocketbooks yet. And I think also the awareness of our programming, thanks to organizations like KDKA for helping us spread the word about food insecurity and making sure that all of our neighbors have access to food. I think that's made a real difference. When people can see a distribution and see that they're getting fresh fruits and vegetables and frozen meat and milk and those really high value items and high ticket price items at the grocery store, it just makes it that much easier for people to be willing to come out and get the assistance they need.
Yeah. So the food bank has started this new program. It's called the Collective Impact Initiative, and you're focusing on rural areas. Tell me why that is an area that needs to be focused on.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, our name kind of throws people for a loop sometimes. Pittsburgh is in our name, but we serve 11 counties in Southwest Pennsylvania. And so we work with a lot of rural populations. And I think there's also this misunderstanding that perhaps because we see it more, that food insecurity only impacts urban populations. But we know that people in rural communities actually experience food insecurity at higher rates than those who live in cities. And so that was really part of why our focus was on rural communities and Black communities as well, because they were the two populations in our service area that experience food insecurity at higher rates.
Yeah. So what does this initiative look like? I know you're focused on three specific counties right now.
Yeah, so through Collective Impact, what we're doing, we facilitate conversations between community leaders. So we host working groups in Butler, Armstrong, and Indiana counties. And we put together this really diverse group of community leaders. We mean formal and informal community leaders, so people from the schools and healthcare and social services, and then community and neighborhood organizations and our food assistance partners, so food pantry coordinators. And by putting all these people together, we can have a conversation about what we know on paper about food insecurity, but that group of individuals really understands and can provide the context that's necessary. Data tells only one part of the story. And so what we've been doing is taking a look at the data, understanding what it's like, getting feedback from community members, what challenges do they face when they try to get access to food, and then taking all of that information and, coming up with priorities and then implementing some really unique solutions, and it's been working really well.
Yeah. So you talked about, the challenges, and how are the challenges different in rural areas versus what you see in urban areas?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. A lot of the challenges are the same, but the specifics of it are different. So transportation, we know, is a challenge in the city of Pittsburgh. When a stop is eliminated on a bus line that's close to a food pantry, that's an issue that we have to sort of address as an organization. That same, transportation is also an issue in rural communities, and it's more for the lack of public transportation. And so we are having a different conversation about transportation than we would in the city of Pittsburgh, but it's all sort of at the root of access to a personal vehicle.
Yeah. So a lot of times we think about rural areas and we think, oh, well, that's where all the farms are.
Yeah.
But it's, you talked about that distance. And so how do the partners kind of help bridge that gap in terms of getting the food to people or helping to come up with ways to get the food to people?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a community to feed a community. I think that's the thing that we realized coming out of the pandemic. The food bank can't solve the issue of hunger on our own. So we really rely on a network of 1,000 programs and partners across our service area to make sure that, we're the literal bank of food, but we work with these partners to make sure that we're addressing community needs. And so we have people who run food pantries and soup kitchens and that sort of thing. And frequently it comes out of, someone notices a need in their community and has people join with them and works together to really do something about it. And so what we've seen is that by sort of all of these organizations and some community members working together, we can establish more sustainable solutions that are truly owned by the community, rather than the food bank sort of saying, let's set up a distribution here, when that may not be the right place and we may not be the right person to run it in the long term. So that's what's been really exciting, is these solutions we're coming up with are truly community led.
So then does that mean that there are times where you are helping people get to the food?
Yeah.
Or taking the food to the people, or is it a combination?
Combination of both. I think 2 initiatives are really demonstrate that. In Armstrong County, we're working with the hospital as well as a domestic violence shelter, where they noticed that there was a need among their patient and their client population. And so rather than saying, let's refer them to a food pantry, they said, oh, well, we could have food on site. And so, Armstrong Hospital now has an on-site food pantry. If someone indicates that they're in need of food, they can, when they leave their appointment, go and get a share of food right in the hospital before they go to leave. And in Butler County, we're working with a really amazing initiative of a couple different organizations. It's called Rise Up Rides, and they provide rides to those in need, and it's particularly targeting issues related to something called the social determinants of health. So if someone needs a ride to a job interview, if someone needs a ride to check out a new apartment, or if someone needs to go to a food pantry. And so since spring of this year, that program is provided more than 300 rides, and we're hoping to expand that in the coming year as well.
Yeah, well, Erin, we appreciate you coming and sharing this vital information. It really helps to point out why the Turkey Fund is so important. And so we want to make sure that our viewers, again, have one more look at how they can donate. Of course, they can go to any PNC bank branch, which will match donations. And then you can also see that you can give by text, online, or by mail. Thanks again for being with us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Well, coming up, Southside residents see a major turnaround since last year. They'll tell us what's made the difference. Intersections. We'll be right back. Southside residents experienced some difficult months a year ago. All too often, weekend nights on East Carson Street saw problems like shootings, unruly crowds, crime, and trash. But residents say there's been a noticeable change thanks to a regular police patrol and community involvement. Southside Community Action Network, or Southside CAN, is one group that came together to change the neighborhood's narrative. Here to discuss the changes that they are seeing are Don Berman and Cassandra Dixon. They are both with Southside Can, along with Chris Furman. He is one of the owners of Enclave on the South Side, which will host an upcoming Southside Music Festival. Welcome everyone to Intersections. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So, talk a little bit about what was happening, Don, and,
Sure.
and what has changed really in the last year.
Really, everything's changed. I mean, before Southside Can and the Southside Hospitality Partnership came into existence last year, this Hospitality Partnership was kind of the beginning of the summer. Southside Can, really almost, a year before, 6 months before that. People were like upset, and there was a meeting with the mayor where like 500 people showed up looking for, upset about the violence and the chaos that was going on Carson Street. And then basically, we started our process of asset-based community development, getting people together, finding out what people care enough about to act, and getting them, motivated and acting on it. And instead of, the community pointing their fingers at the bars and the bars pointing their fingers at the police and just going around in circles and getting nowhere, we started all working together. A safe Carson Street and a safe environment is great for the community, it's great for businesses, it's great for the bars, and the opposite is bad. So we started working together. We have a group working on safety that has, we met with the community council and Chief Scarrato, and that resulted in the Southside Entertainment Patrol. These guys are regulars on East Carson Street. They're dedicated to the district, and they know how to do entertainment policing. They have great relationships with the bar owners. They understand the patrons and how things should go. And things have just gotten dramatically better. Yeah. Chief Scarrato had said there's like a zero tolerance. You come and you have a good time, that's great. If you're not going to behave, then watch out. And it's really just made all the difference. And we have these groups called action packs, and one is safety, which I'm involved heavily in, but there's others. One is to get a paid staff to manage the business district. That has been wildly successful too. We have groups around diversity, homelessness, and they're all really making an active contribution to the community.
Yeah. So Cassandra, tell us a little bit about just the strategic plan, I guess, that was involved. I think Don talked a little bit about it, but where is the plan now, and what are the forward goals for the plan?
Yeah. So as Don mentioned, we went through kind of some training about asset-based community development, and we learned to host a monthly neighbor night. And really, the neighbor night is driven by the community members. It's driven by the people who are vested in the neighborhood, whether they're business owners, property owners, people who just frequent our neighborhood. And we come together monthly and really talk about, like Don said, the things that we care enough to act on. And then those action packs begin to actually take those thoughts and ideas and all solution-based kind of thinking and put it into motion in the neighborhood. And we've seen great success with some of the things that the action packs have brought forward. And moving forward, Southside Can's role will be to continue to facilitate those meetings, to find financial support for maybe some of the projects that those action packs are looking to lead, and then ultimately what our neighborhood really could use is a business manager. Right now we are one of the very few neighborhoods in the city who doesn't have a dedicated Main Street business manager. One of the action packs is leading the cause to find funding and to fill that position, and then allow that person to really make that much of a greater impact.
Yeah.
And of course the collaboration that has come through all the organizations, through all the business owners, really is what's helping to drive all of that right now too.
Yeah. And Chris, you're one of the business owners. What impact have you seen in the last year in terms of how all the changes have impacted your business?
Yeah, just to kind of echo Don there. I mean, the Southside Entertainment Patrol has, under Sergeant Robinson's lead, has done an amazing job. And then in addition to that, all of the organizations working together, our constant communication, it helps. Everybody working together really makes the difference, and the proof's in the pudding. I mean, the differences from last year to this year are substantial, and we still have some ways to go. And but the track that we're on and the way that we're all working together, nothing's stopping us. That's for sure.
Yeah. The thing that I think was so interesting is you guys are going to have a music festival. Is this the first time having a music festival on the South Side?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. And we're looking forward to making this an annual event, but we couldn't be more excited to have the Southside, first annual Southside Music Festival on Sunday the 3rd.
So tell us a little bit about, how that idea came about and who's going to be there.
You want to start, Don?
Sure. So, we're a complete volunteer organization. So, it occurred to us that we had a generous grant from the Birmingham Foundation, but we really need to raise funds. And this whole concept of working together, I went to one of the SHIP meetings and we talked about it and said, Chris at Enclave and the folks at Enclave stepped up big time and have said, we'll do it for you. And we've really just done we're four, our operations team is 4 people. And we just don't have the bandwidth to do it. They've really done a tremendous job for us and supporting us and allowing us to continue the work that we're doing. And the music festival is going to be a great success, and we can't wait for November 3rd.
So we're going to show the image real quickly. It is on November 3rd. The doors open at 4:30 and the show starts at 5. 21 plus event, and you can find more information at southsidecan.org. Thank you all so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
More success to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, coming up, an artistic exhibit through the lens of women from different cultures. Intersections. We'll be right back. 13 female artists from different cultures coming together to display their perspectives through multiple art forms. It's the work of the #NotWhite Collective that you can see right now as part of their latest installation called Sister Soul Spectrum at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater Gallery. Here to talk about their art presentations are collective members Sara and Dr. Amber Epps, along with Ben Pryor, who is the programming director at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so Amber, we're going to have you kind of start us off and tell us a little bit about the Not White Collective, like why it started, how it started, and what was the whole goal?
So, 8 years ago?
Yep.
Many years ago, our good friend Christiana Leach, also known as Madame Dolores, on Valentine's Day, reached out to most of the people who are still in the collective now and said, hey, I want to do this thing. This is how I'm feeling, based on what's going on in the world, what's going on in the country right now. Do you want to be a part of this? And we were like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. For you, Sara, why did you want to be part of it?
I was not part of the original invitee list, but I felt seen when I saw the inaugural exhibition. I was a guest artist of Maritza Mascara, one of the members of the Not White Collective, and it immediately resonated. It was like, wow, these are artists, these are women who live in between the lines, so to speak, who are at the intersections of cultural backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, and my parents resonated with it as well. And we were just like, wow. And so when I got invited, it was really a pivotal moment in my life.
Yeah. So Amber, tell me a little bit about the type of art that you do that is part of the collective, and what kind of makes it perfect, for this project.
The art that I make just comes from my heart, my soul, my spirit. A lot of it's based on what I might be going through emotionally, or just reactions I'm having to certain things, whether they're things in my personal life or things that are going on just in the world around me. It just happens to come out of my fingertips. Sometimes it's controversial, sometimes it's a little more lovey-dovey, and but it's all me.
Yeah. Which is this Sara or Amber's that we're looking at right here?
The large piece is Carolina,
okay,
and then the one to the left is mine.
Okay. All right. You said your fingertips, and I saw that picture.
Oh.
So Sara, for you, the types of art that you do.
Yes. So one of the collective sisters noticed that before I joined the collective, I worked very small. And I'm a visual artist, so it was mostly 2D work at that time. My work got bigger and bigger, and I think that's really a testament to the humanity and artistry that is our collective process. People begin to thrive when they feel truly cared for, and I feel like each of us as sisters in the collective have really flourished in a deeper way through our sisterhood, through our mutual support of one another in our communities.
And we were showing some of your art there also. So Ben, you know, tell us a little bit about why this is perfect for the Kelly Strayhorn Theater's gallery area.
Sure.
And what attracted, you know, you guys to this?
Yeah, well, you know, the KST gallery has been happening since 2021. We did a little renovation with some support from the Rivers of Steel Foundation, and have been mostly exhibiting collective work or work with guest curators. We worked with Women of Visions, have worked with Boom Concepts a bit, and just did a show with Let's Get Free, sort of exhibiting artwork from abolitionists and incarcerated artists as well. In the next season coming up, of course, you know, a lot of the staff at KST know the Not White Collective and have relationships with many different members over a lot of different time, right? Amber has worked with us on different events, both as a performer and now exhibiting the visual artwork. And we're so very mission aligned also, I think, in who and what we are. KST's mission is to be a home for creative experimentation, community dialogue, and collective action rooted in the liberation of Black and queer people. And so the Not White Collective, being this global majority organization that is uplifting femme artists, you know, just felt like a perfect fit. And, you know, also a way to bring a collection of artists into the space, right? We've been wanting to sort of expand that reach. It also, I think, is a great introduction to not only the KST audience who's coming out for events, but also our partner organizations, of whom, you know, we work with quite a few. I think our annual audience across all of our events is over 20,000 people. And so to bring them into the space and greet them with the Not White Collective, I think is a really incredible way for us to foreground our values, you know, with a soft introduction to some provocative ideas.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty much out of time, but we want to let people know that they can see this at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater. And it is, I guess there's an hour before each presentation that you guys have that people can come?
Yes. Lobby opens 1 hour before each show. One of the next opportunities is going to be November 8th and 9th for Jessie Factor's The Marth Odyssey, which is a dance work we're premiering. But the lobby will be open, the bar will be open beforehand, and we welcome you to come and check out the work.
Well, thank you all so much for being here and sharing your work, and we'll be looking for it. All right?
Thank you.
Thanks so
Great to
much.
be here.
All right. And I have my last word when we come back. Well, as you heard earlier, we are in the middle of our 43rd annual KDKA TV Turkey Fund, and once again, we're asking for your help to make sure our neighbors in need have a warm meal this Thanksgiving. Here are all the ways that you can donate, and from all of us at KDKA, thank you. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Intersections.